Hey, what's up everybody? This is gonna be a tutorial about just some simple basic scripting because many have asked about something like that on the RPG in a Box Discord support channel, and so I decided I would make a tutorial about this right now. And yeah, I'm gonna show you in this tutorial how you would set up a basic door so that it opens, you can walk through it. Then we're gonna advance that door script and advance it with a condition, so you need a key in order to open it. And then we're gonna advance it further with some choices that you can make. Yeah, so I'm also gonna explain you the script editor a little bit. All right, let's jump straight in. So I already made a blank map right here, and now we're gonna need a floor. I'm just gonna floor this out real quick. Hold up, where was the 000? I'm searching for it here. Like this. So we have the ground. Now we need some walls that separates half of the map, and then we're gonna do a door in the middle. So I'm gonna take this wall right here. If you place a wall, you have to make sure that, like, if we go into the model properties, um, this door has to be passable off, so it has to be impassable, because if it is passable, then right now you can see here in the map all these navigation paths are colored green, because that is left, like top left you can see the navigation types, and green stands for walk and interact. So right now you can walk everywhere and interact everywhere if there is something to interact with. Um, so if we place the wall, like I can show you real quick, if this is passable, then these green lines, also make sure you adjust the height, because right now we are at 0 height. At the top right corner at the map you can adjust the height. If I would place this down, it would replace the ground. We don't want that. So I'm gonna redo this, and I'm gonna raise the heat level by 1. You have to raise the heat level by whatever height the ground tile has. In this case, this floor tile only has 1 height, so it's enough that we raise it by 1 in this case. So yeah, I made the wall passable. So if I place this now, you can see how the navigation path like bends over the wall, which means the player would be able to walk over this wall right now. And you would have to remove this. Like, you could just remove it if you go on the connect F3 and then you hold right click, you click on this dot right here and you pull it over. It's gonna be a bit tricky right here with the wall, yeah, like this. But this is you would have to do this with every single wall, and that's just not the way to go, I would say. It's just very time consuming. So always just make walls impassable. So turn the passable off. And if you want a player to move by a wall, then you would have to use a script that changes the navigation path from either nothing or from interact only to walk and interact. But I'm gonna go into that later on as well when we make the door. So yeah, I'm gonna place these walls now. Just gonna place them across the ground here. Now you can see that because they're now impassable, automatically the navigation paths are disconnected. So we have to reconnect them for the front of the wall, so the player can still walk in front of it. And also here it erased them as well, so we're just gonna have to redo them here. Save it real quick. Now, where do we want the door? I'm gonna put the door here. Now we need a door object model. You should always make a door with an object, not a tile. So a door should always be an object. So I'm gonna go to the objects, I'm gonna go new object, and I'm gonna call this door. And I'm gonna adjust the heat to 16 as well, 16 by 16. Now I'm just gonna make a simple, very simple door design. I'm not gonna put too much work into this. I'm gonna make a handle like this. Alright. Um, yeah, what I would also do is I would take part of this wall right here, where it's gonna be, the door is gonna sit right there, um, at the wall, like it's gonna be connected to the wall. So I always, um, I would always connect like some part of the wall to the door object as well, so it just looks better, you know. So now we need, in order to open this door, we need or we want an animation, because otherwise, like, you could also do it without animation, but it doesn't look right. You would just walk through a locked door basically. So we want to have an animation playing that opens this door object right here. Um, in order to make this animation, we need more frames. Like right now, at the bottom, you can see where it says frame. It says one for one. So it only has one frame right now. We want more frames, so we go up here where it says duplicate current frame, and then duplicate that 3 times. Yeah, like you can make more frames to make a smoother looking, better looking animation, but I'm just gonna go with a really simple looking animation right now. So we want, this is gonna be the first frame, then at the second frame we want the door to be lined up more towards the middle, so it looks like it's opening. And then at the third frame we want the door to be open. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the color of the door and I'm gonna put it like here. Just do it like this. And then I'm gonna erase this. And I'm also gonna erase this handle, because we're gonna pull this handle up here. So this is the third frame. This is the outcome basically. So we could also just make a 2-frame animation like this, which I think I'm actually gonna go with right now. We're gonna skip the middle animation. So we have this animation right here. So this is as simple as it can be. We're gonna save that, and the door is basically good to go. We just have to add animation right here. Bottom, add animation. Um, Name open. Let's do name open. Start frame 1 to 2. Type clamp, because loop, like we don't want the animation to loop, and sometimes there's bugs if you use loop. It doesn't, like, the animation gets stuck somewhere. So we just use clamp, which means the animation is gonna go from frame 1 to frame 2 and stop, full stop basically. The speed is up to you, but it doesn't really matter because this has only 2 frames, so the speed wouldn't really change much in here. Alright, we have the open. We can also make a close animation as well if we want to. We make a new animation, close, and then we go start frame 2 and end frame 1. So if we test this now, we have open. If we play it, it opens, and now if we close, it closes. If you want the door to be able to do both and not just only open. Alright, the door is done. Now we're gonna set the door into our map. You do not need to adjust the heat level for objects. You only need to adjust the heat level for tiles, like wall tiles and floor tiles. Because right now, if you could see, if I put this even higher, you can see where the grid goes, but I can still put the door right down here. So the objects are not affected by this heat level. Okay, so it replaced this again, but it's alright. We also want the door model properties. We do not want it passable at the beginning as well, because we are gonna script the door to be passable. Yeah, so this is the door, wall door, but how do you cross this door now? So first off, there's also no navigation path here. What we want to do first is we want an interact navigation path. So we click on the orange interact only navigation type, and we connect this tile right here in front of the door to the tile behind the door. So now if you stand here or you stand here on this or this tile and you look at the door, you can interact with it. That's what we want. So now we need this script. Because with the script we're gonna do that this door plays the animation that we just made, the open or close animation, and it will change this interact only navigation type to walk and interact to the green path. That's what we are gonna do now with this script. So we can do this two ways. Either we go to the script editor right here and we go to script, make a new script, or we can click on the door, go to entity properties, go to scripts drop down, trigger event character and tags, then script quick script. And this, if we click on this pencil icon here right now, we will get a quick script builder. So this layout is different from the script editor layout, and this is basically box side code only, so you don't have really any visual scripting here, you only have code scripting here. So for starters, I'm not gonna use this, even though later on this will be actually this is really easy to use, but I'm just gonna use visual scripting for now. The most simple way to script a door is by using the built-in function from RPG in a Box, which lets you select, like if you hold shift and then you select the tile in front of the door, the tile behind the door, and the door itself. Now you can right click and you can create a door automatically. So it lets you, like the engine itself will create a door script for you, which will be a quick script. So if we click on this now and we go to, we click on the door object, entity properties, and we can see down here, if we scroll down, that there is a quick script assigned now. And you can see down here in the box side code what the script does. Like if we go into the on the pencil in the editing, we can see what the script is doing. So this is the simplest way to make a normal door script without putting any work into it at all, because the game does the door script for you. But yeah, if you are a beginner and you don't know what this is doing, then yeah, I don't know, like sure, the door is created now and the door works, but like if you want to make adjustments to it, it's gonna be difficult if you don't know what any of this is doing. So that's why I'm gonna make a door with a normal script. I'm gonna put this none right now. I'm gonna make a normal script, and we're gonna go through these functions, these scripting functions, one by one, so you can understand what every single function actually is doing. So we go to script editor, new, and put in door. Now we have a new script. I'm gonna delete this display message here. And so what do we want to start with? First off, I'm gonna make the most simple script there is, which is just gonna be to open the door. Like only open the door, not close it. We're gonna advance this afterwards. So how do you just open the door and walk through it? We're gonna start doing that by going down to the bottom left where it says available functions. Right here you can search for any function, like whatever you were looking for. You can just type in a keyword here and it's gonna pop up if a function is available here. So for example, in this case we want to play the animation for the door to open. So I'm gonna just type in animation. Right here it says play animation. So we are gonna click on this and drag and drop it in here. Entity, in this case it's already set on self, which is fine because the script, the store script, is gonna be assigned to the door object. So the entity is self. If the script would be assigned to something else, then we could go here, click on this wizard icon, and we would have to assign an entity by ID in this case. But I'm gonna explain that later. So now we have to put in the animation name, which the animation name of the door we called open. So we call this open. Now it's gonna play the open animation, which is if we go back to the door and we click on open, it's gonna do this basically. We go back to the script editor. So it plays animation open. Now we also want the navigation path to be walkable, because right now it's interact only. The way we do that is by typing in navigation. Now it shows us two different possibilities. You can either take replace navigation or you can take modify navigation. I prefer to use modify navigation because replace navigation is gonna only replace the navigation from one single entity. But modify navigation is gonna replace the navigation from a certain tile to another certain tile, which is in this case the best function to use for the door, because we want to walk from the tile in front of the door to the tile at the end of the door, like behind the door. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on this wizard icon up here, and we're gonna select tile by coordinate. Now it's gonna show us this tile and then exclamation mark 000, because right now it doesn't know, we haven't told it the coordinates of the tile that we want to use. So it just shows 000 by default. We're just gonna click OK for now, and now we're gonna do the same with the other coordinate as well, with the other tile. So now we have from tile 00 to tile 000. We need to change this. So we go to map editor and we go to bottom left, edit or F2, and now we can look at what the coordinates are for the tiles that we want to change. So we want this tile and we want this tile. So if we click on this tile, bottom right, in the entity overview, it shows us the coordinates right here. It shows us that it's 9, -6, 0. And this tile behind the door, it shows it's 10, -6, 0. So that's what we need to enter here. So we can either click on this and type it in here, or we can click down here on the bottom on edit, and then we can edit the box-side code. And that's what I'm gonna do, because this is much easier to adjust like this in this case. So I'm gonna take the first tile 10, -6, 0, and the second tile 9, -6, 0. Now I'm gonna apply and save. And the navigation type is already set to walk and interact, because that is what we want. We want the navigation to be walk and interactable. Like, you can choose here whatever you want. You can also choose just walk only, for example. But yeah, I want to walk and interact right now. So this would actually already open the door. This would just open the door, play the open animation, and make the tiles walkable. Now we have to assign the script to the door. So we click on the door here. We go to the map, click on the door, and select scripts, and select the door script here that we just made. Save this and quick play. So now we're gonna walk up to the door real quick. If I want to walk through this, it doesn't work. Like, I can't move past this. If I click on the door, it opens, and now we can walk through. The thing is, though, that we can't close this door anymore. We can only click on it again and again, and it just will play the open animation and play the open animation. Because that's the only thing it does right now, and it will change this walkable path right here always to walk and interact, so it will always be walkable. And we just cannot close this animation at this door anymore. So in order to make a close script as well, we're gonna adjust the script that we did real quick. We go back to the script editor. So we basically need the same thing for closing the door, but we also need to find a way for the script to know when the door is open and when the door is closed. So what we're gonna do is, first off, we're gonna go to the available logic and evaluate condition. We're gonna assign this script begins here to evaluate condition. And now in here, it shows us a default condition. If random number, we don't need this. We click on the conditional expression builder on the wizard icon, which brings us to this thing right here. And now we choose self property equals, and then we choose string. So, because I'm gonna explain this, what we are gonna looking for with this condition is the property of the door. So we're gonna look at if the door is either closed or opened. And the way to do this is with this self.property conditional expression. So we can adjust two values here. We can adjust the property name, which is wrote down as prop underscore name, and we can adjust the value. So we are gonna call this property name state because we are looking for the state. So I'm just gonna call this state. You can call this whatever you want. I'm just gonna call it state. Um, and here we can choose the value that it's supposed to look for, and it's supposed to look for, like I said, whether the door is opened or closed. So in this case, if we want to open the door, we want to have the door closed before. So I'm gonna type in closed here. I'm gonna press OK. So now it's gonna look for if self, like we can go to the box side code here and we see how it's written down, the logic behind it. If self, which is the door, property state equals closed, then something happens. So if the door state equals closed, then we want it to be able to open. And so I drag this right here. At the top part, I'm gonna drag to play animation open and to modify navigation the way we did it. So now we also need what if this is not true? What if this is the state is not closed but opened? So now we have to assign a different state. So we do this by going to available logic and going to assign value. We pull this assign value at the end of this script once the navigation paths were modified, and we're gonna delete this variable here and put in self.property, like the same way it was done here. Self.property equals not equals, sorry. Self.property like this state, and then down here we have equals, and here in the value expression we click on this wizard icon, we go to string and we put open in here, or opened. We put opened in here. So now it shows that it changes the state to opened. But this expression is looking for closed. So you can no longer open the door once this value here is assigned to opened, because the door is already open. So now we're gonna duplicate play animation and duplicate modify animation. We pull it down and we choose this else branch and connect it with this play animation and connect this with this modify navigation down here. And now this animation here we call the close animation because we want the door to play the close animation, and the modify navigation is gonna be from the same tile to the same tile, but navigation type is only gonna be interact only, so no longer walkable. So the door will be closed again. And then we're gonna assign value again. We duplicate this, we connect it, and in this case we type in closed, the string closed, because now once the door is closed, it will actually see in the evaluate condition in the beginning that it is closed, and it will open it. By default, the door is gonna open because it cannot find any other state. So we can test this right now, and I'm just gonna test this. Quick play. Forgot to add it to the door. I mean, it's already added. Yeah, it's already added anyways. So we're gonna go in now. Gonna walk up to the door. And the door just opened. Now we can walk through. And we can also close this door, and now we can no longer walk through. We can open it, reopen it again, walk through. We can also close it from this angle, cannot walk through anymore. So that's how this works. Like right now this is happening without sound. So quit. We can also add a sound if you wanted to, which you go to your script again, you go to available functions, you just type in sound, and then you can play a sound. Right now we don't have any sound effects. You can go to the top left sound FX generator, And here you can just click on, for example, jump. We will get different sound effects, and like this. So you can generate different sound effects here. If you like a sound effect, you can save the sound, and then once you've saved it, you can select it here. So you will also play a sound effect once you open the door, and you can just put that either like in front of the play animation or behind the play animation. Like, that's completely up to you. So now we're gonna look for a way to make the player meet a certain requirement or a certain condition in order to even open the door. For example, the door is locked and you need a key for it. The way to do it, there's a few ways to do this, but you could either make it so the player only needs a key in order to open the door. That would mean that you would like drag all this aside and put in one more condition in here. Or we can put the condition at the front, another condition at the front, which means you would need the key for opening and closing the door. We're gonna use I'm gonna use like behind it. I'm just gonna make it a bit more realistic. So we need the key only if we want to open the door. What we do is we pull another evaluate condition in here, and we connect the top branches again. And now we go into this condition expression builder again, and this time we go to players inventory. Contains if you only look for one item, at least. Contains at least if you want to look for multiple items. For example, if the player needs 2 keys for this door. Up here where it says the 2, this would mean that he needs 2 of those items. If you put in 3, he would need 3 of those items. If you put in 1, he would only need 1 of those items, but that's already done with the only contains. So I'm just gonna use contains, and now here we can assign an item. We don't have a key item right now. I'm gonna make one real quick. Just gonna call that key. Make an icon. Key. So just an ugly key. Real quick. Go in here. Player's inventory contains. Then we choose this key. I'm gonna assign this key to the player real quick with the give item function in the startup script. So once he spawns, he will immediately get this key. And now when we go to the door script, if player's inventory contains item 003, which is the key item you can see on the top right, it says item 003, then it does open the animation. If the player doesn't have the key, we can do something different, because we still have this else branch right here, so we can display message, for example. I'm gonna display message. I'm gonna use the else branch, connect it to the display message, and we're gonna say you don't, or we're gonna say locked, for example. We're just gonna keep it, again, we're gonna keep it simple. Like if you have a script that has a lot of functions in this box here, and you feel like it's you lose track of everything, you can always go into the box side code, edit, and then apply and save, and it will adjust everything to be a bit more or like how do you say it, arranged. It will arrange the boxes a bit better. In this case it overlapped anyways, but it will be a bit more it will have a bit more a bit better arrangement. So now we're gonna quick play again. We're gonna test this. New game. If you open the inventory, you can see that we have the key now. So now if I throw the key out, it's gonna lay here. We can re-pick this up. Now if I go to the door and I click on it, it says that it's locked and we cannot go through it. It doesn't allow us to go through it. Now if we go back, pick the key up, have the key in our inventory, and now I click on it, now it's gonna open, and I can close it too. And if I throw it away, if I leave it here, it's probably gonna be problematic. Like right now I can close the door and it says it's locked again once it's locked. If I pick this up, I can open it again. I can close, open. Now if I move here, throw the key out, and I close this, oops, close this here. Now it's locked, and now we can't get back to the key. So now we are basically have locked ourselves out. So that's why I prefer to, if the player needs a key for some door, I prefer to have either a script that unlocks the door completely and gives it a new script where it's no longer necessary to have the key, or to have the player scripted in a way that the player has to always have the key in his inventory, whether he opens or closes the door. But this, so this is basically how I make a door with a condition. Like you have to have a key in your inventory, for example. Now we're gonna make multiple choices as well on top of this. So the way we do this is, again, we have to make a new function. We're gonna pull this to the side, and now we're gonna go with a new function which is called display choices. This way we can give the player choices to make. So we're gonna pull this in at the front, connect this. So now the player has the choice, for example, to open door, question mark, and then we go to choices. We click on this variable expression builder again, and it shows us the choices. The choices are done with arrays. So we have choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. Like down here, you can change these choices and name them however you want, one per line. So you can add more choices by doing this, for example. But we want less choices in this case. I want the open door, yes, open door, no, for example. Okay, and speak entity we're gonna put on none because nobody is saying this stuff. And now we're gonna need another evaluate condition in order to define the choice made by the player. So down here by the display choice we also have result, variable, or property. You can leave this as result. I'm just gonna call this choice. It doesn't matter, you can call this whatever you want. Now if we take in another evaluate condition and we assign this, we just have to keep in mind this result variable that we made, in our case choice. I'm gonna click on this, I'm gonna click on select variable, and now we're gonna need to rename this variable to choice equals number and then 0. The reason why we do number is because these choices are being read with numbers. So the first choice is number 0 and the second choice is number 1 and so on. So if you have, like we have 2 choices, then we have to go with number 0 and number 1. In this case I'm only gonna go with number 0 and I'm gonna assign this. So if the player chooses no, oh, it didn't quite take this over, I'm gonna redo this. So if the player chooses yes, it's gonna go through all that opening the door, or like I'm gonna not opening but interact with the door. So I'm gonna go with overall term. And if the player chooses no, then this else branch here is not connected to anything. So if the player chooses no, nothing is gonna happen. He's just not gonna interact with it. So I'm gonna quick play again. New game. We're gonna walk up to this door, click on it, and now it's gonna ask us interact with the door. If I click on no, nothing's happening. If I click on yes, it's gonna open the door. Same, if I click on it again, it will ask me to interact with it again. If I say yes, it's gonna close the door, and so on. So this is how if I click no, it's gonna do nothing. That's how it works. And if I throw my key out again, it says it this way. If I want to interact with the door now, it says it's locked. Pick the key up, interact with the door, yes. If I throw the key out now, because closing doesn't need a key, it closes. So that's basically it. That's how you script basic um, conditions, basic choices, how you make a basic door script. It's not that difficult, to be honest. So yeah, I hope this helps somebody. And yeah, again, if you have any requests for anything, you want to know how some specific scripting works, then feel free to ask me, and I'm gonna see if I can make a tutorial about it. Or just ask in the RPG in a Box Discord server under the support channel in the scripting category. Alright, thank you for watching, and see you around.